Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another video. Thought we'd sit down and do another little video just regarding some news and information that we have had revealed to us earlier on this morning. Now this is going to be a video talking about the transfer window, but it isn't going to be our transfer window review. As I said in yesterday's video, I do hope to sit down over the next coming days or so. Well, I don't hope, I will be sitting down over the next coming days or so and doing a transfer window review where we talk about all of the outgoing transfers that have happened to Everton Football Club over the last summer transfer window. We're also going to talk about all of the incoming players. We're going to give our thoughts and opinions on how the window went, whether Everton is stronger coming out of it, whether Everton's business was good business. We'll do all of that in a live stream over the next coming days or so. We also will of course be doing the review to Everton's 2-2 draw with Sheffield United hopefully later on today. It's a little bit difficult at the moment. As you can tell, I'm not currently in my usual setup. I'm actually at my girlfriend's at the moment. My car is in the garage, so I can't get home, so unfortunately it won't be an hour live stream sat at my usual setup, but we will be getting that review out as well as the transfer window review over the course of the next couple of days or so. But I just wanted to do a little video talking about some news that that we have had revealed to us about Everton's summer transfer window this morning. Now, I don't want this channel to just become an ultra ranty, negative sort of, channel where every single video is me screaming and shouting at Everton and screaming and shouting at the board and, having a go at what's going on. However, I do feel like, given I started this channel with the ultimate, aim to sort of connect with more Evertonians, to be able to have discussions and conversations with more Evertonians about our football club, but also to vent my frustrations after games when I wasn't happy with performances, when I wasn't happy with certain decisions. I would come on the channel and I would make that known and I would vent my frustrations and other people would agree with me on that. I feel like it's important to talk about certain things, even if they are perceived as negative, even if people might say, oh, well, you're being negative now, you're being negative. It's not really about being negative or positive. It's about talking about these situations that very clearly are having a massive impact on the situation that our football club is in at the moment. And if I've got to sit here every single day and have a go at the people in charge of Everton Football Club for running our truly fantastic and great football club into the ground, then I will do that. If that means I'm seen as negative, if that means I'm seen as, oh, you just moan, you just won't, cry, you're just dead negative, well, I'll continue being like this until the moment Farhad Moshiri and Bill Kenwright leave this football club and things start to get better. Because I've done videos on this channel where I've been dead happy. I've had instant match reactions where I've been absolutely buzzing. Go back and watch my instant match reaction from when we beat Liverpool at Anfield 2-0 in the COVID year. I was absolutely buzzing. I've had videos on this channel where I've been dead happy. I'm not just on here to be negative and whingy for the sake of it, but when certain things are happening to our football club that we have no control over, and when the people running our football club are running it into the ground, I will come on and I will have my opinion, and if you deem it negative, then that is what it is. But I will certainly come on and I will argue and I will ultimately, hold these people responsible for what's going on to our football club, because it has been an absolute disgrace. I said it 2 weeks ago and I will say it again. I said it 2 weeks ago in an instant match reaction. Some people might think, oh, the emotions were high, this, that and the other, that, Everton had just lost the game. We're now sitting here, it's a Tuesday morning. I've had a great morning, I've had a great day so far. It's about 30 odd degrees outside. I'm chilling, I'm working from home, I'm in brilliant company. I've had a brilliant couple of days, and yet still I have not changed my opinion that the running of this football club is an utter disgrace from those people at the top, and they're continuing to run this football club into the ground, and they will continue to do that until the day that they depart, and that is what we need. And this information today only backs that up further. So we've had an article released earlier this morning from The Athletic. Again, I say this every time we talk about The Athletic, but of course one of the most reliable sources for football news, information, transfer news, and just overall sort of in the know news about what goes on behind the scenes of a football club. If The Athletic are coming out and reporting that something has happened behind the scenes at Everton, then it more than likely has happened. I'm not saying they're always right, because nobody is, but it's pretty accurate information. Paddy Boyland has written this article. He is, of course, is Everton's correspondent for The Athletic. Really reliable source. And the article is basically a review of Everton's transfer window, a review of Everton's spending, and just an overall discussion about where Everton are at the moment, the backlash of the transfer window, etc, etc. And part of that article, Paddy has wrote, the only fee Everton spent on a new signing this summer was the €3 million loan fee for Arnaud Danjuma to Villarreal. Payment for Yusuf Chermiti and Beto are not due until the next financial year. Everton generated £45 million in player outgoings this summer. So just to clarify that, Everton signed 6 players this summer, I think, or 5 players this summer. Out of those players that have come into the football club, Everton have only paid €3 million out. So far, that has gone to Villarreal, and the payments for Beto's transfer and for Yusuf Chermiti's transfer are not actually due until the next financial year. So they're not due at this moment and won't be due for some time. And Everton made £45 million in player outgoings. Paddy also says in terms of outgoings, £40 million off the wage bill and around £45 million brought in through sales. So that leaves the big question, doesn't it? And that big question is, well, if Everton have spent only €3 million in this summer transfer window, and Everton have made £45 million in this transfer window, then where is the other £43.5 million gone that Everton have recouped this summer for moves from the likes of Alex Iwobi leaving the football club, Tom Cannon leaving the football club? Obviously, we know Yerry Mina, Conor Cody, those wages were off the wage bill. Various other players, Jean-Philippe Gbamin has had his contract terminated, so his wages off the wage bill. Where is the rest of that money coming from? Because I will be the first to admit, I am not a financial advisor. I'm not an accountant. I'm not into banking. I am your average football fan, your bang average football fan. All I want to do is watch Everton every week, watch us win games of footy, talk about how boss the players are, and actually love watching my team and love watching the players that represent my team. Now, with doing an Everton YouTube channel, what comes with that is involuntarily, really, you do find out about the running of the football club day in, day out. You do know about the finances. You do know about the marketing failures of the football club in terms of shirt sales and getting the shirts in different shops and sponsorship agreements, etc, etc. Even if you don't want to know any of that, with not even with just doing a YouTube fan channel, but with social media and with news being so free to access these days, we all find ourselves going from what we were 15 years ago as just footy fans who just wanted to see our team play on a Saturday afternoon and win, to now we're all very much, you know, involved in the football club and know very much about everything that goes on. But like I said, even with that information, even knowing that, you know, modern day football fans know a lot more than what we used to do, I still am not an accountant. I'm still not a banker. I'm still not a financial advisor. So my very basic question is, well, Everton have come out of this transfer window weaker than what we went into it. It's as simple as that. We've lost Alex Iwobi, who's arguably our most creative player. Okay, we've signed Beto up front, which is a good move and a player that we desperately needed. But ultimately, we all said going into the last week of the transfer window, we probably need a centre-back, we probably need a left-back, but we definitely need a winger, a right winger, and a creative midfielder in or a creative forward that can, that can put the ball on a plate for Beto and Dominic Calvert-Lewin 3 or 4 times a game at least. Right, so knowing that we've needed that, and this follows along the same lines of the argument we had yesterday about Demarai Gray, the whole Everton weren't willing to bring players in unless they absolutely they needed them. They weren't going to bring them in for the sake of it. Well, we weren't bringing players in for the sake of it. The sake of it was we were going to lose a player, on top of the fact we've got a player there that doesn't want to be here. Anyway, my basic question as a basic football fan is, well, we've needed to strengthen in positions this summer, which we haven't strengthened in. We've spent €3 million, which is probably around £2.5 million, something like that. And we recouped £45 million. So given we've needed to sign players, and given we've got around £42 million to play with, why haven't we gone and signed players? And again, the answers to that are what we're going to get into in this video. But that, for me, is the very basic way of looking at things. Everton needed reinforcements. We failed to get them. Why? Well, finances might be an issue. Well, hang on. We only spent €3 million this summer. And we recouped, even just in this summer, we recouped £45 million. So where's that other £42.5 million gone? Plus the 40-odd million quid we made from Anthony Gordon in January, which we didn't spend a penny of because we didn't bring a single player in January. So where is that money going? And that led me to ask that question on social media. I mean, I put on Twitter earlier today, I don't know the ins and outs of the finances, but surely we're getting to the point of being relatively sound financially now. And the reason I say that is because every single year, it feels like we have the same conversation. And it's been like this for 3 years now, maybe going on 4 years, but definitely 3 years, where we have the same conversation where we come out of a transfer window and we say, do you know what, we haven't really spent an awful lot there. So next time, you know, in January or in next summer, we'll probably be sound and we'll be able to go out and buy 3 or 4 players. And then we get to that next transfer window and it's repeat. You know what, we haven't spent an awful lot of money here. So, you know, when we get to the next transfer window, we'll probably be able to sign a few players. Next window, you know what, we haven't spent a lot of money here. How long is this going to continue? It feels like we're always having that same conversation of we haven't spent much now, so next time we'll be able to spend much. But next time it's the same. We don't end up spending much. And then we all say, well, next time we will. And we don't. So why is that? You know, I know Everton's spending over the last 6 or 7 years has been absolutely atrocious in terms of the money we spent under Ronald Koeman, in terms of the money we spent under Carlo Ancelotti at times, on the players we spent. I mean, you know, it's understandable. But I know I'm not saying Everton aren't in a bad financial position, because we obviously are, because we signed, you know, 2 30-odd-year-olds for 30-40 million quid under Carlo Ancelotti. But what I'm saying is, when you actually look at Everton's finances over the last 3 seasons, we're probably the lowest team in the Premier League in terms of spending, net spend coming in. So that's 3 years we've had now of not spending effectively, and the money we have spent is being brought in by player sales. So we've been in a plus in terms of the net spend. So why this summer have we not been able to spend again? And I just found myself asking a couple of questions on social media. Is, you know, we had £45 million that come in from direct player sales in this transfer window alone. Why were we not able to spend that on the players that we needed to get? Why were we rummaging around on deadline day trying to get deals done for different players? And then, you know, we entertain the conversation of, well, we haven't got the physical cash. Well, okay, we might not have the physical cash for this summer, because deals, you know, again, much like the way we do deals, and Fulham might say, well, we're not going to pay our first payment for Alex Iwobi until next summer or until January, and you know, Leicester might say the same about Tom Cannon. Fine, but surely we'd have had a payment for Anthony Gordon in January. Surely we'd have had something from Newcastle between January and now for Anthony Gordon. Where is that money? Why haven't we seen the back end of that? Just to put it into perspective, Nottingham Forest signed 7 players on Friday. 7 players on deadline day Nottingham Forest signed. They've signed about 30 players over the last 12 months. They don't seem to be in any financial position. They don't seem to be in any financial ruin. 7 players they signed on, including players that I would have loved at Everton. Callum Hudson-Odoi would have been great at Everton. 7 players they signed on deadline day. And the excuse we got from the football club, it's always 2 things. We tried, and we just couldn't make deals work for monetary reasons. Well, you've just got 45 million quid in a summer. Last summer, you've had £85 million in the last 2 transfer windows. And we've spent €3 million off that 85 million quid. The next thing the club will come out with, obviously, is, well, we don't want to sign players for the sake of it. Well, but as I've said yesterday, you're not signing players for the sake of it. The sake of it is you're letting players go and not replacing them. So there's the sake. And the other sake of it is you've got a player there that wants to leave, that you're not letting leave until you find a replacement. So there's the sake of it. It's like me going into the shop. It's like me saying to my girlfriend, right, I'm going to go to the shop and I'm going to go and get something for tea. And then we go to the shop and I walk in the shop and she says, so should we get a pizza for tea? And I go, I'm not buying a pizza for the sake of it. Well, you're not buying it for the sake of it. You're buying it for your tea, which is a necessity. Anyway, so that again, I was on social media this morning looking further through it, and I wanted to find answers because, like I said, although I'm not particularly interested on the day-to-day running of the football club, or at least we shouldn't be as football fans, we need to be because of the modern world, but also, I just want to know why Everton aren't signing players, because, like I said, as a football fan, the very basic of it is I want to watch my team win games of footy, and I want to watch the players, and I want to like the players, and I want to watch new players. So my interest is, why isn't there any new players? Where has that money gone to warrant not bringing in anybody on deadline day and not improving in those areas that we've needed to improve on? And there was a few people were having these conversations on social media, and there was a few questions. Steve Kelly, who is a frequent member on Toffee TV, he responded to the piece from Paddy saying, "Good piece, Paddy. Is there any idea where the money they have brought in has gone, as Everton don't have any FFP issues anymore?" And John Blaine, also a very good friend of mine, Toffee TV, of course, we're away with him. John responded, "Day-to-day running of the business and perhaps the stadium too." And that, for me, is just a clear example of why Everton are in the position that they're in at the moment, and why the people at the top of this football club are absolutely incapable of running this football club to the level it needs running. Day-to-day running of the football club, which seems to suggest that without that £45 million from player sales, Everton would not be able to cope with the day-to-day running. And by day-to-day running, it means effectively paying the office staff, paying, the staff that are behind the scenes that you don't necessarily see. Might even be things like funding the food that goes into the stadium for match days, and funding the social media team that post competitions every day. The mere suggestion that £45 million that we made from outgoing sales this summer has gone into the day-to-day running of this football club tells you exactly why this football club are in desperate need of a change of ownership. Because without that, we are only going one way, and it is down, and it is down rapidly. And it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting that Everton are needing to sell their assets, sell players in this squad, weaken this squad, a squad that already only survived by the skin of their teeth, by the way. That squad has been weakened in order for us to just cope. A Premier League football club. We know the reason we're in this position. Because of years of overpaying for players, £40-odd million for Gylfi Sigurdsson, £30-odd million for Michael Keane, giving players hundreds of thousands of pounds a week. Yeah, we'll sign you from, the Spanish League. You're on $5,000 a week now. Come in here and we'll give you $150,000 a week on a 6-year contract. Players that we've bought for big money. I mean, I could sit here, I could do a list, but let's just reel some off. Theo Walcott bought for big money, left for free. Cenk Tosun bought for big money, left for free. Morgan Schneiderlin bought for big money, left for free. Gylfi Sigurdsson bought for big money, left for free. That's probably £150 million worth of players there. Left for free, every single one of them. Yannick Bolasie, big money, left for free. And that is why we're in the position that we're in now, where we find ourselves off the back of 2 consecutive relegation battles, needing to sell players and weaken our team to just fund the day-to-day business of this football club, the day-to-day running. Imagine other football clubs were in that position in the league. Imagine the media attention it would get if West Ham United turned round to their fans and said, "Yeah, we've just sold Declan Rice for $100 million, but we're not going to sign James Ward-Prowse. We're not going to sign Mohamed Kudus. We're not going to sign Alvarez. That $100 million is actually going to go into the day-to-day running of the football club, and we're not actually going to sign any players to replace Declan Rice." Imagine. And the reason I say this is because this is important, because this is the side of Everton Football Club that people don't see. Some people in the media don't see, and a lot of the local media are getting onto it now. Fair play to The Athletic and The Echo, who are getting onto it and who are targeting this. But the wider media don't see this. And that's because people like Sky Sports, people like TNT, the various different, sort of wider media sources report Everton's business in a completely incorrect manner. So if you went on Sky Sports now and they done a breakthrough of everyone's transfer business this summer, I guarantee you they'd have Everton signing Beto for £30 million this summer. And they'd all be sitting there going, well, Everton have just spent big money again on a striker. That's another big money move Everton have signed to try and get them out of this position. They're clearly getting backed by the owner. No, what they really should be saying is, well, Everton made 45 million this summer and they actually only spent €3 million of that. And the other money is going into the day-to-day running of the football club, which just shows how bad of a situation they are in. Because we haven't spent £30 million on Beto. We may end up spending £30 million on Beto, but as of now, we haven't spent a penny on him. So it's falsely discussed. It's falsely, it's falsely spoken about. And because of that, this doesn't get the attention it deserves. Everton are one of the biggest football clubs in the world. We're one of the biggest football clubs in this country. 9 league titles, multiple FA Cups, European trophies. And the business is being ran in a way in which we have to sell some of our assets to just keep it going and keep it afloat. And as I said, we know the reasons for that. Various overspending over the years under Farhad Moshiri, the Koeman era, the Ancelotti era. Obviously having one of our contributors of funds or sponsorship funds, his accounts being frozen, so there's no money coming in there, losing money from sponsorship deals we had to end. It's just a shambles. And do you know when you hear something and you hear it over and over and over and over again, and it doesn't quite sink in? You know, when you hear Everton's finances are on the floor, it's because of this, it's because of that, it's because of the other, there's no money, there's this, there's that, there's the other. And you just constantly hear it that much that it's just like, yeah. And then one day you hear it again or you read it and it actually sinks in and you actually think, shit, this is an absolute disaster. When I read that tweet from John this morning saying the day-to-day running of the football club and potentially the stadium, I just thought, wow. So we're at a point now where we finished half an hour away from being relegated last season and we've had to sell one of, our biggest, whether you like Iwobi, whether you don't like Iwobi, whether you think it was a great deal, whether you don't, one of our biggest assets we've had to sell just to keep the football club afloat. What happens if Alex Iwobi had said, no, not going, don't want to go? What happens if Tom Cannon had said, no, don't want to go? Would we have been in a point where we'd have had to entertain administration? Would we have been in a point where we couldn't pay people at the football club? Is it that serious? It seems like that. I then asked John, I basically said, so John, just to get it right, the money we've brought in is having to go on the day-to-day run of the football club and therefore cannot be used to bring in players. And then I said, am I right in suggesting that this is a disgraceful case of gross mismanagement that's got us into this position? John replied, below Moshiri and perhaps Kenwright, there's little if any sign of accountability for running the business. Top-level decision-making and communication is absent from the interim board, and the poor morale in the middle ranks is a damning indictment of the leadership. And that is pretty much as it is. And this is what we've known for quite some time. And you might be sitting here thinking, Cam, you're just rambling now because we've had these conversations numerous times before. And we have. But I just needed to do this video because when I read that this morning about the fact that, Everton are in the position that they're in because the money that they've brought in has had to go to the day-to-day running, it just hit me on a whole new level. So I just felt like I needed to do this video. But there you go. There's a lack of leadership at this football club. There's a lack of accountability. And we've known that for years. Nobody stands up and holds their hands up. I can't remember the last time. Now, by the way, Everton Football Club have spent hundreds of millions over the years, poorly. We've given players ridiculous wages over the years. We're in a position now where financially we're having to sell players just to keep the business going. And we've just come off the back of 2 relegation battles on the spin. Potentially going to be in another one. Countless managers sacked, countless fallouts, countless board changes, nonsense reports of different things going on at the stadium that have not gone on. All of that, take all of that into consideration, and yet still I can't remember the last time anybody associated with Everton Football Club come out and hold their hands up and say, listen, this has been a shambles, It's always an excuse. Well, we're doing this. Well, we're doing that. Well, look at that stadium on the docks. It's a brilliant new stadium. Sounds, yeah. But if we wouldn't have sold that player that created 7 chances for us last season, you wouldn't have been able to even fund the bloody cones that go down on the site for the stadium to be built. So you can try and, say all of that and try and, direct our information elsewhere. Sorry about that. A parcel arrived, which sometimes happens when you're working from home. But yeah, like I said, none of them take responsibility, and none of them have taken responsibility, whether it be the old board, whether it be the interim board, whether it be the owners, the director of footballs. Very, 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 very few times have I seen anybody associated with Everton, players and managers included, that have come out and gone, do you know what, I hold my hands up, this is a bit of a disaster, this. Like I said, it's always just direct your attention to the stadium, look at how boss the stadium is, the stadium's great, and the stadium is great, it's brilliant, but it means nothing if the rest of the football club is on its arse, and the rest of the football club is most certainly on its arse. It begs the question, when does this get resolved? When does this get fixed? When do things get better for us? When do we get into a position where we actually look at this football club and think, do you know what, this is going in the right direction, things are looking up? When? When does that happen? I'll give you the answer. It only happens when this owner and this chairman have been moved on. This football club will never progress under Farhad Moshiri. It will never progress with Bill Kenwright there. It will never progress with an interim board who very clearly seem to just be sitting there thinking, well, I don't know what we're meant to do. We're only here for the short term. It's got nothing to do with us. It will not progress until serious change has been made. And that isn't just as easy, by the way, as some fella turning up at Moshiri's house and going, here's a load of money, I'll buy Everton. It isn't. This club is in far too difficult and far too sticky of a position for that to be the solution. And unfortunately, it's very difficult to see a way out of this. When you're having to sell players in your first team squad, a team that barely survived relegation, when you're having to weaken that squad just to keep the business going, it tells you how disgraceful of a situation this actually is. And like I said, I'm just not sure how this gets resolved. I really, really don't know how this gets resolved. Well, I do know somebody coming in with a load of money and saying, right, Farhad, see you later, it's my club now, and then employing some actually decent people who know what they're doing and know how to take responsibility for their actions. But that doesn't seem like it's anywhere near happening, does it? So where do we go from here in the short term? Well, as John quite rightly mentions there, Everton have still got an interim board. An interim board that are probably full of people that don't want to make serious decisions because they don't know whether they're going to be in a job long enough to back that decision, and therefore are effectively just filling a space for now. And I don't mean that to be disrespectful to them, it's not their fault, but they are effectively filling a space. We were told when the board members left, I'm talking Denise Barrett-Baxendale, Graham Sharp and Grant Ingles, we were told that there would be an update in 48 hours on the position of the chairman. We didn't get an update in 48 hours. We got one days and days later. A week later, in fact, it might have been. When we got that update, we were told the chairman would remain during a transitional period of the football club. What are we transitioning into? An even bigger shit show? An even bigger circus? The investment that was potentially coming to the football club is gone. Player sales, are having the funds from player sales are having to go into running the football club, therefore we can't improve the squad. Relegation is the thing that everybody is terrified of. Relegation is the big doom, that it's almost like the end sort of, it can get worse because we can still be relegated. Relegation isn't the worst thing that could happen to this football club in the position that they're in. If Everton are relegated, playing in the Championship won't be our biggest issue or won't be our biggest worry. It'll be, are we going to be able to survive as a football club financially? It won't be a case of, oh my God, we can't get relegated. And this is why when people say, well, wouldn't it have been good for Everton to go down, have a bit of a restart, have a bit of a refresh and come up like Burnley did? Yeah, it would have been fucking brilliant. But that wouldn't have been the case. Financially, we would have been crippled. Decision makers at the football club would have made the wrong decisions again. Nobody would have taken responsibility. Nobody would have taken accountability. And we'd be in a position where Sunderland is an example where we might float around League One, the Championship, for 10, 15, 20, 25 years, we might never come back up. Yeah. Again, it all forms part of the overall message, which is Farhad Moshiri and Bill Kenwright, you are not welcome at this football club. You've proven that you're incapable of running this football club to a level that we need it to. You've proven that you are selfish. You've proven that you're self-centred. You've proven that you're liars. You've proven that you are nowhere near capable of running a Premier League football club. And until the day those two leave this football club and don't come back, this won't get better, in my opinion. It won't. Because what signs have we to suggest that it is going to get better? Anyway, we're going to leave it there. Just wanted to do a little video on that article. By all means, get involved in the comments. In fact, I want you to get involved in the comments. You might know something more than I do. You might have a different opinion. You might be privy to different information, and you might say, well, Cam, think about this, think about that, think about the other. Get involved in the comments. I really, really want to hear your thoughts. I'll get involved with as many of them comments as I possibly can. If you have enjoyed this one, please do leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new as well. That would mean a huge amount to me. And yeah, we'll be back with the game review to the Sheffield United game a little bit later. So big thanks for watching. Leave a like if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you later.